Nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. That's what we're talking about today. There's really great stuff for you to learn. Think of a college course being condensed into a 2.5 hour class. This is what Joe's going to be talking about today, and he's going to give you some great tips while you're listening.
SAGE is a 501c3 nonprofit organization building community by providing education and counseling about physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. We encourage all of our listeners to find their own path to what holistic wellness means to you.
Hi, and welcome to another episode with Sage Holistic Health and Wellness Center. I am Emily Celis, your host, and today I have with us Joseph Celis, who is also a director here at Sage Holistic Health and Wellness Center. So happy to have you here today. Today's topic is going to be Nutrition 101 and how to meal prep. So I am going to let you talk a little bit about nutrition, but first of all, introducing how you are here to talk to us about nutrition.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've had the opportunity to teach nutrition classes for a long period of time at the college level. So I've taught Nutrition 101, sports nutrition, so on and so forth for a while.
Food and mood, you said too?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Food and mood, yeah. So during that time, I've just, utilized that information to help people out and help myself out as well. I do a lot of different kinds of physical activity, martial arts, archery, hiking, things like that. And for different types of activity, you need different kinds of fuel, right? And to know when to eat, how much to eat, how to refuel yourself properly, how to eat to recover, how to keep sated with different meals and stuff like that. So, it's nutrition really helps me out in my life in that way.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know nutrition, we've decided to bring that into Sage as one of the classes that we offer because it is such an important facet of our lives. I mean, it's the food we eat every day. And I know you're going to be talking to us a little bit about, how pervasive it is, how it affects us in so many different ways. And for us at Sage, being able to have physical health and also mental health and spiritual health, food is a big proponent of that, for how we can be affected on different levels of our entire lives. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about nutrition as a overall. I mean, I just think it's awesome that you're able to take all these classes that you've taught and condense it into this awesome jam-packed 2.5 hour class where you just fill people's minds with good stuff about food.
Yeah. Well, food is always on people's minds. Yeah, it's been like that for decades, right? Why do we eat certain foods? Like, which diet is the best for me for right now? Why do people do fad diets? How do I lose weight? How do I gain weight? How do I do this new fasting routine? So just so many different things people are trying out because they have some issues with eating, with eating food. And it's not because people in the United States are uneducated or they're lazy, or even unmotivated. It's just that because their life is unbalanced, they don't have time to engage in physical activity, which helps reduce anxiety and stress, right? They don't make time to meditate or to self-care that way, to read books or something like that, to just calm themselves down, to again reduce that anxiety and that inner dialogue in their mind. And it's harder nowadays with technology, right, to really have long-lasting and genuine social interactions with people, right? We all have friends on Facebook or in social media or things like that, but when we really have a traumatic event in our lives, our friends on Facebook and social media, they're not going to come to our aid, right? It's those small circles of friends that really help to do that, right? And when we build more time, or when we spend more time building social media friends than we do our real friends, that really puts a damper on our life as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting talking about the social aspect too, right? You're kind of talking about like the loss of social support. But then there also is those times when we are engaging socially, and a lot of that revolves around food.
Yeah.
And it's not often like healthy food, although there is, I think, a lot more options nowadays, especially in Southern California, of like healthy eating restaurants and places like that. But for the majority, you know, when we're meeting friends out, or, you know, family dinners out, or things like that, you know, the restaurants don't really typically offer really healthy nutritional options.
Well, you know, some do, some don't. You
Yeah.
know, it depends. You know,
Or do we want to eat those options
well, that's the
when
thing.
we're out and celebrating?
That's
so
the thing, because those imbalances, whether they're mental, physical, or spiritual imbalances, food is the band-aid that we use for that, right? So, food is instant gratification, right? And in today's society, it's I want it and I want it now. I want instant gratification now, right? So when you're having a bad day at work, you know, you go home and relax. You veg out on TV, and then you have that ice cream, you know, on the way home from a stressful day or an argument with a spouse or a friend or whatever. Go through a drive-through and get some really unhealthy or over jam-packed calorie meal, right? And then you eat that.
or substances too, you know, like the grab for the beer or the wine,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know,
to
other
kinda-
things.
It's instant gratification,
Mhm.
but it's not. It's just a band-aid. It's not curing any of those problems, right? It's just, but you feel better in that moment, and then afterwards you tend to feel guilty afterwards. Oh man, I ate half a gallon of ice cream, you know, or I ate like 2 Snickers bars or whatever it is, you know. And I'm not saying that eating those things are bad, right? So in most cases, eating anything in moderation is fine, right? You just have to balance things out. But how do we find that balance? That balance is challenging, and the way we do that is you have to understand some basic components of food. You know, what gives you energy, right? What kind of foods give you quick bursts of energy or long lasting energy, or what foods help you to recover better from your exercises? What foods give you anxiety, and what foods relieve your anxiety, right? What foods can cause stress and depression, you know, because there's different foods that elicit different reactions, chemical reactions in your body that definitely affect your mood, and that's just the way it is. And, you know, food is a chemical compound, and, you know, it reacts differently to everyone's body type.
Yeah, no, I think it was interesting. I'll share that when I was in college, you know, doing my undergrad in psychology, I was doing a research project that was all about the well-being of college-age students, because most research projects are about college-age students, right? And what we were looking at was the acidity or the alkaline of the foods that students were eating, to see how that was affecting their mental health. And it was just so neat to see the correlations that were drawn between, you know, more acidic foods that were causing less well-being, you know, mental health well-being in college-age students, at least.
Well, it's interesting that you brought it up too, because there are diets now, the alkaline diets, you know, the popularity of alkaline water, so on and so forth, you know. And not to get off topic too much, but, you know, our body is naturally more acidic, you know, on the spectrum, right? So the more foods that we eat that cause it to be more acidic, the less balanced that we are chemically, right? So our chemical processes are not as efficient when we are one way more than the other. So we try to balance that out by having more alkaline diets and things like that.
And I know we're not going to go too off topic, but just because acidic foods would be what, like a lot of meat, fried foods, chocolate, wine,
right? Yeah.
Right? These kind, you know, the types of foods that we grab for when we're trying to get that Band-Aid or that feel good, you know, mood. That's the acidity that plays into that whole factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, interesting. Back to your story.
So basically just getting a basic understanding of food, to give you an idea of what to eat, how much to eat, when you can incorporate those foods into your lifestyle is important. And we're not saying, hey, don't eat foods that you like or foods that taste good. We're just saying, hey, let's balance it out. You know, let's treat food as a fuel source instead of a Band-Aid. And let's figure out, you know, what you're allergic to. Okay, so what you have intolerances to, if you're lactose intolerant or dairy allergic or gluten intolerant or have celiac disease, right? Because those things are going to greatly affect your mood, and it's going to cause a negative spiral on your mind, body, and spirit, on your balance, right? So, it's important to educate yourself, just like with anything else, so you can live that fuller, healthier, happier life. And that's basically what we try to instill in our classes.
Right, and so like Joe has been talking about these things. What's awesome about his class is that the 2.5 hours, you really get this condensed college level course into this 2.5 hours. I mean, I know you can't fit all of that, but you do give the pillars, the important bits of nutrition for someone who doesn't really know a ton about how to answer these questions. And I do think that the part about dieting is really intriguing, and I know you always tell me about that part of your classes when you're going through that. That's their group projects where they present about whatever fad diets are going on. And,
yeah.
I always find that to be fascinating because this is not, new. I mean, it's been on the front cover of magazines for so long, dieting and how to lose weight, or, it's mostly about how to lose weight. And then that plays into this whole thing about body image and how much focus is put on that. And, the important thing is that we are feeling good about who we are and what we're doing in this world, and that it's not all about how we look, that the focus is on our mental health or our physical health and our longevity in life, and how we're able to enjoy that day-to-day life. And a lot of times the foods that we're eating and the way that we are dieting or not dieting, or what we're bringing into our bodies, is affecting that. And so that's our focus, as we're saying, let's try and figure out how we can have the food fuel our body, give us what we need, feel good, and then get on to doing those important things like living life more fully. And I know we also incorporate in this class how to meal prep, so I wonder if maybe you can share a little tidbit here for the people that may not be able to make the class, or just something about food prepping or meal prepping that is important.
Just a couple of things for meal prepping. You wanna figure out what tastes good for you, what you're willing to eat. So an example would be, if you don't like fish, don't prepare a lot of fish. Okay, so just figuring out what kinds of foods you like to eat, what kind of vegetables you like to eat, and purchasing all those things beforehand, and before the week starts, whether your week starts on a Sunday or a Monday or Tuesday, just preparing it 2 days beforehand, slowly, not killing yourself the night before the week starts. And then just, getting the right tools for it, getting the right Ziploc bags, or getting the right food containers and things like that. Prepping it the right way so it lasts longer, preserving it in the refrigerator, so on and so forth. So you can have a well-balanced, nutritious meal every day of the week, so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's also some really great companies out there that do meal prepping, which sometimes, you can take that into consideration too, where you think about the time going to the grocery store, I guess first of all planning your meal, and then getting that grocery list, and then preparing the food, and then cleaning up after you prepare. All of that takes time, and so in our busy world and our busy time and our busy days, you might look at that, the cost of what something that costs you, and how that might make your life even better. So we will leave you with that. We would love to see you in that class, and hopefully you learned some things about nutrition today. See you in class.
Thank you for spending some of your time today with us at Sage Holistic Health and Wellness Center. If you like what we're all about, please consider supporting our nonprofit organization by making a tax-deductible donation. To do this, you can go to our website at www.sagewellnessctr.org and click on Donate in the upper right-hand corner. We look forward to spending some time again with you real soon. Take good care.